Source 2, Alexander's reign. Historical context. Plutarch was a Greek historian and philosopher who lived around 46 through 122 CE, Common Era. But if you examine the results of Alexander's instruction, you will see that he educated the Hyrcanians to respect the marriage bond and taught the Arcosians to till the soil and persuaded the Sagondians to support their parents, not to kill them, and the Persians to revere their mothers and not to take them into wedlock. O wondrous philosophy that brought the Indians to worship Greek gods and the Scythians to bury their dead, not to devour them. When Alexander was civilizing Asia, Homer was commonly read, and the children of Persians, of the Sicilians, and the Gerousians learned to chat the tragedies of Sophocles and Euripides. And although Socrates failed to teach the gods to the foreign barbarians who infested Athens, yet through Alexander, Bactria and Caucasus learned to revere the gods of the Greeks. Alexander established more than 70 cities among savage tribes and sold all Asia with the Greek governance through overcoming its uncivil and brutish manner of living. Those who were vanquished by Alexander are happier than those who escaped his hand. For those who had no one to put an end to the wretchedness of their existence, while the victor compelled those other to lead a happy life. I know this is really wordy and not easily understood, right? So I am going to read it again and try to break some of this down. And this is in quotes, so someone is saying this, all right? And that someone it's okay for us to believe that it's this guy up here, Plutarch, all right? Because he's in the historical context, so he's maybe the one that said this quote. But if you examine the results of Alexander's instruction, you will see that he educated the Hyrcanians to respect the marriage bond and taught the Arcosians to till the soil and persuaded the Sogdians to support their parents, not to kill them, and the Persians to revere their mothers and not to take them into wedlock. So if you examine the way Alexander ruled, you will see that he actually educated groups of people to respect the marriage bond, right? Not to marry their mothers, not to take their mothers into wedlock, and to, respect their mothers, not to kill them, not to do those things. So Alexander the Great, according to this historian, this is what he taught the people to do, all right? When Alexander was civilizing Asia, so according to this historian, this is him civilizing Asia. So if he didn't come in and teach these groups of people not to kill their mothers, not to marry their mothers, they would have still been uncivilized. So he's civilizing them by teaching them these things. When Alexander was civilizing Asia, Homer was commonly read, and the children of the Persians, of the Sicilians, and the Gerousians learned to chant the tragedies of Sophocles and Euripides. And although Socrates failed to teach the gods to the foreign barbarians who infested Athens, yet through Alexander, Bactria and the Caucasus learned to revere the gods of the Greeks. Right? So although before Alexander came, there was this certain way of living there, like almost tragic to be exact, right? Almost like a tragic way of living. And although Socrates didn't really teach people or the foreigners who came into Athens, although Socrates, the philosophy of Socrates didn't really teach them specifically how to worship gods, through the ways of Alexander, they learned that. So Alexander helped these barbarians or these people who invaded Athens learn different ways of how to worship many gods, right? Because not everyone believed in many gods, right? But that was the way of the Greeks, and that was the way of Alexander the Great. All right. Those who were vanquished by Alexander were happier than those who escaped his hand. So those who just let him rule them or just listen to him were more happier than those who tried to fight back or escape from him, right? So for these had no one to put an end to their wretchedness of their existence, while the victor compelled those other to lead a happy life. All right, you complete the page chart, and that's that. Same questions from source 1. All right, don't have time to do it.